Well, hello, my name is Brandon Boland. I'm a teacher at Westwood Middle School.
And I'm Michelle O'Neill. I'm a teacher at Rawlings Elementary.
And we're excited to be here with Ms. Diyonne McGraw to hear a little bit about your process and being elected for the school board. We're with Teachers for Change. We just want to hear a little bit what you have in mind, especially from the teacher's perspective in some of our questions. But to start things off, we want to know, what are your main goals to improve the school district overall for teachers and for students?
Okay. I'm so happy for this opportunity to be here with you as far as Teachers for Change. And three of the things I'm definitely going to concentrate on. One, for our students, reading and comprehension skills task force. And that will include our teachers and whoever else is necessary to be on that particular team. Because if you look at our data, that's one of the reasons I'm running. I am concerned about us continuing to have an achievement gap of 45 to 49% for the last 5 years. We cannot continue. We know if you can't read, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, and so we need to, make that change. The other thing is, for teachers, you all need more support. We need to look at salaries. I'm thankful for the $500 million that the governor has put in place, but we need to have you all to the table to make sure that happens. A task force with the union, as well as with teachers, because you're the ones in the trenches, and I think a lot of times we forget about that. Also, my thing is, every child is not going to college. Every child's not going to college. And that will help with behaviors if kids have more hands-on activities. So I think if you have more than CTE and trade, right now with our CTE and trades, it's more for rigorous courses for kids who are considered level 3. What about that kid who's dealing with a lot of trauma in their personal lives? They need help, their families. You gotta remember, their parents are a product of the same system that has failed them. And so trades, for those kids who may not want to go on to college, that is extremely important as well.
So this is from a teacher in a particular school who says every school has struggling students who need support. Our school just lost its Title I funding, but we have the same pocket of kids who need that extra support. How will you fight for those kids who aren't necessarily at struggling schools, but who have the same demographics as those who are?
First of all, you pull out our magnet. I think about that all the time. You pull out our magnet schools, our schools are struggling, period. And so my leadership, what I've been doing since 1992, I've been going with parents, meeting. I want to make sure every principal identifies all of those struggling kids. We have a 27-page budget for $24 million. That's a sizable budget. And our focus has to be on kids. So there are changes that we have to make, then we have to make sure we make those to make sure our children are successful. Because my ultimate goal with the new leadership is to make sure we provide a world-class education. Well, first of all, when you think about human resources, I think of a person that has great marketing skills, who understands policies and procedures. And part of that department, to make sure we're working together, you need 2 recruiters. You need an African American or a minority recruiter to make sure that happens, along with another recruiter. Because what centers, we talked about this the other day, what makes me want to come to Alachua County and teach? We got to work with the union to make sure we get your salaries where they need to be comfortable. Because I know at $38,000 a year, and then by the time you pay taxes and insurance, it's a struggle. We have a lot of teachers working more than one job, but we can do better.
So students, parents, and teachers really need school board members who aren't afraid of hard work, but who are also visible in the community and schools, not just in a boardroom. So school board members who are willing to go to schools and neighborhoods they might even feel uncomfortable in. In your words, why is that important and necessary? And are you willing to be uncomfortable for all of Alachua County students?
Great question. Because when you think of Diyonne McGraw, as I said before, I've been volunteering in this community since 1992. As an African American, I've experienced a lot of racism. I've experienced being been given a stigma or some type of reputation, without it not even knowing me, especially working in the public school system. I have shown with many a times I would be uncomfortable. No, I'm not afraid to talk about it and have those tough conversations. It's about creating a culture of diversity. I'm black, you're white, you're Hispanic, it doesn't matter. But the diversity is extremely important, that we learn each other's cultures, and it makes for a better place for all of us.
Great. Well, that actually goes well into our next question. What are your thoughts about school zoning? Would you consider rezoning schools to make them more diverse, or do you prefer neighborhood zone schools?
Well, if you look at right now, we're basically segregated. Our schools and the neighborhood schools are the ones that most of them are struggling, especially in East Gainesville. Zoning is not going to be an easy issue, but we're going to have that conversation about rezoning, because you have so much capacity in East Gainesville versus West. And so with the current situation, what are we saying? We want to continue to have a divide in our community. When you continue, when you talk about zoning and you don't want to address that issue, that means you're okay with how things are. Oh yeah, it's designed. Our system is a systemic racist system that has been designed by the powers to be, the leaders. Because when you look at it, it's about, when I look at especially public education as far as our race is concerned, you have, to me, two sides. You have candidates who are fighting for change, and you have candidates who want things to remain the same, which equals economics and power.
All right, Ms. McGraw, you mentioned earlier about your holistic approach and view. What are your ideas on how to address behavioral needs, trauma, and social-emotional needs for students, and supporting teachers in that process?
As a person who, I have a master's in education, varying exceptionalities. From Nova, I was a student right in Gainesville High School with Dr. Wise and some of the people who taught it, Dr. Tony Avila. And one of the things when it comes to behavior, I have group homes for intensive behavior group homes where I deal with substance abuse, mental illness, GPS monitoring, child pornography. I'm the last step before they go to the state hospital. Again, I'm a behavior management trainer. So my focus would be, there's going to be a behavior management team, because we have to begin to meet families where they are. We're not going to embarrass those parents. If that, like what I do now, I have parent contracts with my parents. I'm going to bring that parent in. I'm going to treat them like somebody. I'm not here to judge that person. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to first listen and hear what's going on with them. I'm going to build that relationship, because I have their child who has some challenges, but doesn't mean that you can't turn that life around. So in today's picture of education, that's why I say it's community public education. You have to have social work, mental health. We have to identify those kids that are struggling, and they're going to have teachers, professional development. You may go through trauma, mental health training. You all need that, I think, to understand, so you can be able to recognize when a child is going through something. But I don't want us to get into the first thing we do is suspend that child. And so, once we identify those children who are really struggling with trauma, now we have the social worker and the mental health person. It would be not a choice, because I've already built that relationship with that parent. Here's what you're going to have to do working as a parent, because we have to be able to teach, but you don't embarrass people. I don't believe in embarrassing. But if we have a school system that does the wraparound support, it's going to make a better world for all of us.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. McGraw. We really enjoyed hearing everything you had to say today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.